All right. So today we're doing something a little bit different. I've been asked to put together a little bit of a promotional video for the TzAudios Stellar X3 condenser microphone. I found out about TzAudio through a number of different videos on YouTube, and I'm going to give you links in the description to those videos. And also I've borrowed a few clips from those videos. Some of those videos are highly technical and they're produced by audio engineers. I am not a formally trained audio engineer. I am a formally trained philosophy professor. And so I'm going to leave it to the experts to talk about the audio specifics. I'll leave links again to their videos. Some of them are tremendous. And so I did in fact purchase this microphone. However, in exchange for this video, I am receiving a discount on the microphone. So I consider this a promotional video for YouTube's sake. But the way I see this is that the proof is in the pudding, right? And so what I mean by that is that it's very clear that this condenser microphone sounds so much better than the other microphones that I've been using. So, one of the things that I encountered immediately when I started to learn how to use all this audiovisual equipment, there's a podcast out there that's a podcast about podcasting. And the first thing he says, in fact, I think that's the name of the first episode of his very first podcast. He says that if it sounds good, then it is good. And that's very postmodern, right? As long as it's popular, as long as it sounds good, then we're going to count it as good. And it doesn't matter if it's wrong or misinformation. So welcome to postmodernity. This creates a problem then, of course, for people who have the right answer, but maybe it doesn't sound so good whenever they are broadcasting it. So thankfully, TzAudio has come to the rescue with their Stellar X3 condenser microphone. When I first started to look into the equipment, using the different equipment, I found some fool on a blog post somewhere who said, whatever you do, don't use a condenser microphone. And all these reasons, they were saying, listen, a condenser microphone, all these problems with condenser microphones. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I got to stay away from condenser microphones. I have a background in music. I mean, very amateur background in music. I used to play the saxophone. I played tenor saxophone in high school jazz band, and I played alto saxophone in the marching band. I really enjoy playing music. I taught myself how to play guitar at Kenyon College when I was there. I took some music classes. So I had a dynamic microphone laying around, and I thought, well, we'll just use that. But then I thought, I'm going to improve on the dynamic microphone. So I ended up with a Sennheiser microphone, a dynamic microphone. I'm going to leave out the details of it. I think it's discontinued now, but I was just trying to avoid condenser microphones because I'm not a formally trained audio engineer. The Sennheiser microphone, you could hear me thinking. It was so sensitive. So I moved into the Shure SM7B, and I had been using the Shure SM7B. I like it. Of course, they call it the Joe Rogan microphone. I like the broadcast sound that comes out of it. I'm going to try to juxtapose different audio inputs. This is the Shure SM7B. Of course, they call this the Joe Rogan microphone. And I really like this. I like the way that it sounds. I think that it has a kind of broadcast sound to it. I do have a few plugins on this right now. I do have some compression on this. Just putting this here so that you can recognize the difference between the Shure SM7B and the TzAudio Stellar X3 condenser microphone. One of the things that I want to do is juxtapose the introduction to the podcast with the TzAudio microphone and the introduction to the podcast with the Shure SM7B microphone. Welcome back to the Philosophemes podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Scalambrino. I'm proud to be part of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Thank you for being here. Welcome back to the Philosophemes podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Scalambrino. I'm proud to be part of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Thank you for for being here. As you can tell, the proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, when you eat the pudding, you taste it. You know if the pudding is good or not. You don't need someone else to tell you whether this is good pudding or not, right? And so I feel as though this condenser microphone sounds so much clearer. It has so much more presence than the Shure SM7B. TzAudio asked me to do something unique, right? And so I thought that I would try to show you this microphone in the spirit of these several other promotional videos for TzAudio Stellar X3 condenser microphones. All right, so this is dry. There are no effects on this microphone. I'm doing this for the sake of illustrating the microphone. If you're traveling down in the North Country Fair, where the winds hit heavy on the borderline, remember me to one who lives there, for she once was a true love of mine. If you're going down when the cold winds blow, when the rivers freeze and summer ends, please see she has a coat so warm to keep her from the howling wind. Please see for me if her hair is hanging long, if it rolls and flows all down her breast. Please see for me if her hair's hanging long, 'cause that's the way I remember her best. I'm wondering if she remembers me at all. Many times I've often prayed in the darkness of my night, in the brightness of my day. So if you're traveling down in the North Country Fair, where the winds hit heavy on the borderline, remember me to one who lives there, for she once was a true love of mine. Shout out to Nate for teaching me how to play that song on guitar in 1996. All right, so this constitutes my promotional video for TzAudio, the Stellar X3 condenser microphone. It is definitely my go-to microphone at this point, and I appreciate it very much. So thank you, TzAudio, and I do recommend this microphone. I've got a number of links in the description, links to the microphone and other music-related links. So if you're interested, feel free to check them out.